whenever we talk about real estate, young people say, oh, our parents, that's where all of our parents' money is going. Yeah. All they do is build back home in a house we'll never live in. We will never go back, but that's all their attention is focused on. Yeah. Yes, I understand there is a negative side to that because all of their attention is like on the projects that they have back home, whereas their attention should be here and they should be fully present here as well. Yeah. But I understand where they're coming from and I understand where you're coming from. Yes. So can you please speak to that? As a young person doing real estate back home in Africa, how has that felt? How has the process been? What have been the comebacks? Yeah. How has the reception of that been? Because you are a woman. Yeah. Right? Investing back home. So back home, they're looking at you like, who is this one?
Well, am I coming?
But you also did start before you were married. Yeah, so how was that?
Before that, it's funny because I do real estate here and also do real estate in back home in Nigeria as well. But like it's not rocket science, and I do understand the point to, parents how when they immigrated to America how they treated. That trust situation, you send money to your family, you've been building a home that you've never been in. The kids, you have nothing to show for it. Yeah. Things have changed, I will say that. Society is a bit more different. There's a lot more, I'm in the space of technology and automation and a more progressive society. And I've tapped into that, take advantage of it. And with the real estate situation, yes, people would think you have to put a huge amount of money down. In Nigeria, there's a mortgage system now, even better than the United States.
Really?
Yes.
Speak on that a little bit.
Like I say, I do stay plugged in to things going on, whether it's in real estate, tech, AI, just the market in general. And I'm very plugged into Africa because Africa is the only continent within the next 50 years that has the highest exponential growth. Yeah. So you want to tap into that resource, whether it's in real estate, just people, technology.
Better sooner than later too.
Exactly. Cinematography, like the market is huge. Like I have family back home. And so, when I go home, I try to go home every year. We just talk. I went into a family member's house. I was like, I love your home. Like, how was the whole process of, just buying and everything? They told me about the mortgage process, which they know that I know about mortgage. But when they explain the system that they're adapting in Nigeria, it's great. It's a 10-year period. You put a certain percentage down. It works, I'm like, 10 years is better than 30 years.
Or 40 or 50.
Exactly. And you can even beat the method and actually pay more and finish your, And, I reached out, we communicated. They took me to the developer. They showed me. I had maybe 24 hours before I needed to leave the country. They knew I was leaving. They made it happen. And that's the thing. You just have to ask. Like she said, I'm a woman. I was not in the place to command anybody to show me
do anything for you.
But I showed zeal, resilience, and I wanted to do it. And you will find your people. And they knew I was serious because I was like, show me the development. They took me to the estate. It's an estate. I saw the property. I took my sisters with me. I said, hey, they'll come back and pick the property that I decide on. So I had a few options. I told them, walk me through the paperwork. What do I need to do? How much do I need to put down? And what's the plan? How can you work with me? So look, I love Africa. We can negotiate everything, even buying a property. And I went to the bank, I talked to the director. We started setting up an account for me. I showed them all the documentation I need. I aligned all my ducks. There's no gray area here. It was pretty black and white. You apply, you wait, you get approved. You have, people that have to co-sign for you. If, situations like that. Everything worked out well. I put the money down. I mean, I've been saving since I started college. Right. So that's why I was able to do it. I've been saving for a long time. And I knew, because I told myself this, I said, whatever I invest in, my first investment has to be back home. There are communities where it's like, the home is not that great. You buy it, renovate it, literally how it is here. You flip, right? But rather than flipping and selling it, you just flip it and keep it. Right? Because I know this area is about to boom. And I invest, I'm from Kaduna, but I invest in Abuja. Abuja is the capital of Nigeria.
Right.
And the capital is not changing anytime soon.
No.
So deciding to do that, knowing the areas that's growing and choosing to put your money where your mouth is. So that's something I've done. In America, it's a little bit different. Like, hey, I don't have that much money down. What are the different options I can get into real estate? And then we started to explore that. And as I got married, my husband, he knows my vision, and we share the same vision and the same alignment on things. And it's like we have those conversations of like, hey, when you start thinking about family, what makes sense for us, right?
One time I was in a car with one of my uncles, and we're talking about like investing back home, and I told them like my interest of like moving back home, and that I'm gonna struggle a whole lot because I'm yet to be married. And my struggle is that I don't want to find any men or to be with a husband that doesn't want to move back home, because that's what I want to do. And he looked puzzled. He said, I didn't know people your age you are thinking of going back home. I said, let me tell you, my uncle, like all of my friends are going back home. Matter of fact, all of us are investing back home.
Absolutely.
And so he was amazed. He was like, I thought it was just us old people that are investing, and you young people are hating us for it. And I said, no, for real, like we're moving back.